The Boeing 777 sliced through the night sky like a silent arrow, its engines humming with the confidence of routine. For the 247 passengers on board Flight 382 from Frankfurt to Washington, this was just another long-haul flight. Families settled into seats, business travelers opened laptops, and tired tourists dozed off beneath thin airline blankets. Among them sat Elena Marquez, a quiet woman in her mid-30s tucked away in seat 19A. To most eyes, she was just another passenger. Simple jeans, a gray sweater, dark hair pulled back into a loose braid. She carried no aura of command, no visible mark of importance. Yet when the cabin crew addressed her, there was a trace of hesitation in their eyes, like they sensed something beneath the surface, though they couldn't name it. Elena gazed out of the window at the black canvas of night sprinkled with faint stars. The world below was invisible, but she knew they were passing over Eastern Europe. She closed her eyes, whispering a prayer she hadn't spoken in years. The first sign of trouble came as a tremor, barely noticeable at first. The captain's voice cut in over the intercom, calm but urgent. "Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. Please remain seated with your seatbelts fastened. We are in communication with air traffic control and will update you shortly." Passengers exchanged worried glances. Elena felt her stomach tighten. Her instincts, long buried, stirred awake. She had heard voices like that before, the kind of calm a person used when standing at the edge of chaos. Minutes later, the aircraft made a sudden, sharp turn. Trays rattled. A child cried. The hum of conversation rose as tension spread like fire. Elena's eyes snapped back to the window, and that's when she saw them. Two F-16 Fighting Falcons appeared, their silhouettes unmistakable under the moonlight. They weren't escorting in neat formation. They were circling, nervous, on edge. One dipped lower, its wingtips rocking in a universal military signal. "Follow me." Gasps filled the cabin as passengers spotted the fighters. Some pulled out phones. Others whispered prayers. The captain's voice returned, thinner now, strained. "Ladies and gentlemen, please remain calm. We are experiencing an airspace security situation. Everything is under control." But Elena knew that wasn't true. Fighter jets didn't show up unless control was already slipping. She pressed her forehead to the glass, her heart hammering. The F-16s weren't alone. In the distance, a faint trail of lights streaked across the darkness, something closing in, fast. Her chest tightened. She recognized the formation instantly. These weren't escorts. They were interceptors, and someone was hunting them. For the first time in years, Elena whispered the name she had buried deep inside herself. Viper 1. Her call sign, the name she thought she'd left behind forever. The cabin descended into controlled chaos. Flight attendants struggled to calm passengers, but the sight of warplanes outside the window was impossible to ignore. Parents clutched children, businessmen muttered curses, and a young soldier on leave whispered, "This can't be happening." Elena's pulse thudded in her ears. She scanned the movements of the F-16s, reading them like a forgotten language. Their banking turns, their erratic corrections. These were not pilots flying with confidence. They were desperate. Suddenly, a thunderclap split the night sky. A missile streaked past, its warhead detonating harmlessly in the upper atmosphere. The flash painted terrified faces inside the cabin. Screams erupted. The captain's voice cracked over the intercom. "Mayday, mayday! This is Flight 382 under attack! Requesting immediate assistance!" Static swallowed his words. Elena's decision snapped into place. She unbuckled her seatbelt and rose. "Ma'am, please sit down!" A flight attendant begged, blocking her path. Elena's voice carried the steel of command she hadn't used in years. "I need access to the cockpit. Now!" The attendant hesitated, trembling. I can't." "Listen to me," Elena cut in, her eyes locking with hers. "Those pilots out there are crying for help. If we don't answer, we all die." Something in Elena's tone broke through the fear. The attendant nodded shakily and led her forward. Murmurs spread through the passengers, confusion, hope, disbelief. Who was this woman? When the cockpit door opened, the captain and first officer turned, sweat gleaming on their foreheads. Their eyes widened as Elena stepped inside. I'm not here to take over your plane, she said quickly. But I can talk to them, she pointed at the radio. Patch me through to the F-16s. The captain blinked, frozen. Who the hell are you? Elena's voice was low, steady. Call sign Viper 1. United States Air Force, retired. The cockpit went silent. The first officer swallowed hard, then flicked a switch. Static hissed, then a frantic voice broke through. This is Falcon 2. Low on fuel. Defensive systems failing. We can't hold them off. Where the hell is support? Elena gripped the headset, her old instincts roaring alive. Falcon 2, this is Viper 1. Hold your vector. You are not alone. A pause. Disbelief crackled in the reply. Viper 1? That's impossible. You're a ghost. Elena's lips tightened. Not tonight. Outside, the threat grew clearer. A hostile aircraft, fast, predatory, lurking just beyond sight, firing warning shots to herd the 777 into danger. Whoever was behind it wanted more than just intimidation. They wanted a massacre. And then, through the static, came another voice. A voice like gravel and thunder, steady as the earth itself. Viper 1, this is Hog Leader. A-10 inbound. Hold your sky. Elena's breath caught. The A-10 Thunderbolt II, the Warthog. Slow, ugly, invincible. If the F-16s were wolves, the A-10 was the boar that never stopped charging. Relief surged through her veins. The cavalry had come, but the fight was far from over. The night sky ignited with fury. The hostile aircraft broke cover, sleek and deadly. An advanced fighter, its afterburners flaring as it slashed toward the lumbering passenger jet. The F-16 swerved to intercept, their engines howling, but Elena could see their maneuvers faltering. They were drained, pushed to their limits. Falcons, stay defensive, Elena commanded through the headset. Drag him low, keep him busy. The younger pilot's voice cracked with fear. We can't, he's too fast. Do as I say, she barked, her tone slicing through panic. Below, a sound like rolling thunder climbed into the heavens. The unmistakable growl of twin turbofan engines built not for speed, but for sheer unstoppable endurance. The A-10 Thunderbolt II climbed into view, its stubby wings bristling with weaponry, its iconic gay U-8 Avenger cannon glinting in the moonlight. It was slow, outdated by modern standards, yet in Elena's eyes, it was the most beautiful sight in the world. Hog Leader, Elena said, her voice softening. You're late. The reply came with a chuckle, deep and unshakable. Had to make an entrance. The enemy fighter swung toward the A-10, mocking in its speed, dancing around the slower beast. But the A-10 didn't flinch. It didn't need to. Its purpose was simple. Survive, strike, end. Elena, the captain whispered, can that thing really help us? Her lips curled into a grim smile. You don't pray for beauty, you pray for the Warthog. The dogfight erupted. The F-16s harried the intruder from above, bleeding what little energy they had left, while the A-10 lumbered into position like a predator pretending to be prey. The hostile made the mistake of diving low, chasing the passenger jet for the kill. That's when the A-10 roared. Its cannon spat fire, a deafening growl that rattled the windows of Flight 382. The sky lit up with streams of tungsten rounds, 70 shells per second, each one capable of shredding armor. The enemy fighter twisted, dodging desperately, but the Warthog had found its rhythm. One burst clipped its wing, another shattered its tail. Flames blossomed across the night sky as the hostile aircraft disintegrated in a violent fireball, swallowed by the darkness. The cabin erupted in cheers. Tears rolled down faces, strangers embraced, hope returned. Inside the cockpit, the captain exhaled a shuddering breath. We're alive! Elena lowered the headset, her hands trembling now that the adrenaline was fading. She closed her eyes, whispering, "Thank you, Hog Leader." The reply came steady, calm. Anytime, Viper 1. The sky remembers its own. As dawn crept over the Atlantic, the 777 flew steady once more, flanked by its guardians. Elena returned to her seat. Just another passenger again in the eyes of the world. But to the few who knew the truth, she was far more. She was Viper 1, the ghost who answered the call. And when the F-16s cried for help, it was the A-10 Warthog and a forgotten legend in Seat 19A that saved them all.